Well, let's see. How do I start the day off? By that I mean, what is my low? Because I can't think of what my low was at all. Um, hmm. I guess I would say that my low is I probably stayed at my folks' place a little later than I would have liked to, but I still had a wonderful time. That's nice. My high is the fact that, I did get to see them. And especially when my mom actually came here and she gave this place a mother's touch. So that was really awesome. And obviously, as part of my act of kindness, I did thank her. But I also try to clean up some things a little bit because, you gotta make it easy for her. That's just how it works. So, good morning and happy Tuesday, everybody. Man, it's weird. Monday always seems to fly by relatively quickly. I mean, I guess it makes sense. What really helped is, having the nice dinner that we had. I'll never forget too because my mom had called me, and she asked me what she asked me what I thought we should have for dinner, and she gave me two options. One is, and they're both mom foods I have talked about before. One is meatloaf, and the other one is burgers and fries. Now, full disclosure, I really do want to because if you've been paying attention to my social media, then you know that lately I've been taking every opportunity to take photos of, mom food. Speaking of which, today is a mom food chronicle, but I'll get to that momentarily. And meatloaf is one of those dishes I absolutely need to take a photo of. The problem is, with meatloaf, it's just an awful amount of time to make. Well, really, the majority of the time is, cooking. But in terms of getting all your ingredients together and putting the meatloaf together and putting it at 325 for an hour and a half, and then putting your glaze on it and putting it at 350 for another half hour. And again, you still had to put all the ingredients together. You still had to put it in the meatloaf pan, and you still had to take it out and put the glaze on it and let it cool. You're looking at 2.5, actually maybe even almost 3 hours before dinner's ready. Which, in that time you could get everything else ready. If we had meatloaf, we also would have had mashed potatoes and probably a salad. But, it was what it was, and we wound up just having burgers, which could be made within a half hour. Plus, honestly, the reason why I picked the burgers over the meatloaf, and believe me, I really did want the meatloaf at first, and that's because I do have to get a photo of the meatloaf eventually, but I also was kind of thinking, well, 3.5 hours to, make everything and cook everything, that's not really going to leave much for, family time. It's going to be 6:30, almost 7 o'clock at night by the time we finally get around to eating dinner. And that's not going to leave much time before I have to head home for the evening. So I think I feel like I've morally made the right call on that one. And it was still good. I still got a good meal. And actually, my mom went to the supermarket and she forgot to get actual French fries. And she got these frozen zucchini fries in the freezer, and she got them for my nephews. She just never used them yet. And I've actually had zucchini fries before. They used to have them back when I was at Gettysburg College, and some restaurants I think probably serve those as an appetizer or something. So zucchini fries is good, and it's mom food, and my mom always makes Lipton onion soup burgers, which, you take like Lipton onion soup mix, put them in the burger meat before you form your patties, and then you cook them. In my mom's case, broil them, or, you could grill them too. Fun fact, the British people call the broiler a grill. So I guess my mom did wind up grilling anyway. And usually when my mom makes burgers, because here's the thing, yeah, growing up I did have Velveeta, but I realized I should probably maybe try and liking other cheeses. I really became more of a cheddar guy, so the burgers I had on mine were cheddar. But for my father, he had a few burgers that had a Swiss cheese on it, and my mom just had like a combination of both. A part of me really did want like the combination of both, but what can I say? 100% cheddar makes everything better. Although maybe next time I'll probably get both cheeses on my burger. So yeah, that was my dinner. And I remember to get a cross section too. I got like a cross section shot. You gotta go with the cross section shot. And, my burger had, mayo, ketchup, lettuce, tomato, onions, and this is one of those times where my mom made bacon too, because bacon is life, and you gotta have bacon on a burger. It was a good night. Speaking of mom food, I can't believe I haven't talked about this particular mom food yet, because for a long time, I think until I was about, 10 years old, the vast majority of the stuff that my mom had, actually, I'm more like 8 years old. If I had dinner, dinners usually start off as, something small, like, maybe my mom would make like burgers, and for a vegetable she'd get like canned green beans, the green giant kind, stuff like that. It was really simple. But I want to say I was around 7 or 8 years old when my mom had finally gotten a crock pot or a slow cooker. And I think the trend, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the trend with like cooking equipment is when it's first used or invented, it's sold for like ridiculous amount of expenses. And over time, as the technology becomes more mainstreamed, and it doesn't really take as much money to make these sorts of things, the price goes significantly down. I know that's what happened to the neighbors up there. I know that's what happened to the sous vide machine. Those very weird things where you put in like a little pouch and you put it underwater, and then the water is like at a certain temperature for hours and hours and hours. Like sous vide machines were like over thousands of dollars, and now you can get them for like $90 at Walmart. I mean, yeah, yes, $90 is still kind of a lot of money, but $90 versus something in the quadruple digits. I think you got off easy there. So, needless to say, when my mom first got a slow cooker, she utilized the bejeepers out of it. And one thing that she makes that I can't believe I haven't really talked about yet is chicken. Just a chicken, whole bird that you find at, any particular grocery store. Put the chicken in with, your vegetables, onions, carrots, celery, maybe potatoes in there, and maybe a little stock or water or whatever it is. Put in the slow cooker for hours and hours and hours, and there you go. It doesn't really sound that appealing when I first talk about it, but what makes this meal so appealing, hands down, is what the house would wind up smelling like when it was ready to go. Because I kid you not, this was the closest you would get to Thanksgiving at my house. without actually being Thanksgiving. Like the vast majority of all those familiar Thanksgiving related smells were there. I mean, my mom didn't really use sage, but like, the usage of, the mirepoix, that's the carrot, celery, and onions, and, potatoes that were slow cooked, but you could mash them yourself to make mashed potatoes. The chicken is obviously a bird, just like turkey, and it was great. And the thing about, and unlike a turkey, where even after, however many hours it takes to make the turkey, you still have to worry about, the turkey being undercooked. Here, the chicken is practically done as it is. Like, yeah, it's still a long period of time, but you could be gone for hours and hours and hours. It's still cooking, and nothing bad is going to happen. That's why using a crock pot is great. Even better when you consider that because of the environment that chicken has been in for that long, not only does it smell and taste great, but my God, it is fall off the bone tender. Seriously, whenever my mom tries to take it out of the crock pot, she has to really finagle everything so nothing falls off while she's picking it up. Not literally picking it up, obviously, because it's so incredibly hot, but like, giant spoons and everything. And it's fantastic. Like, honestly, yeah, some things are still a bit of an issue. I mean, the breast or the white meat, that's going to be a little bit on the dry side, but let's be real here. That's like literally every single chicken breast ever. But hey, that's okay. It's been in its own stock and juices for hours and hours and hours. You can just take those juices and put them on the white meat. Although, if you're asking me specifically, yeah, I'm a dark meat guy. Give me the drumstick, give me the thigh, In fact, full disclosure, if I ever get like one of those rotisserie chickens, I'll just straight up I'll have the breast first and then have like all the other good stuff for last, That's how I do it. I'm the kind of guy who knows okay, this part is good, but it's not as good as everything else. So I'll just have that part first and then work everything else later. That's why usually when I'm in a restaurant, I'm given a plate with veggies on it and stuff like that. I'll have the veggies first. I love vegetables, but I know for a fact they're not as good as the steak or something. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I know I'm probably weird for that, but I don't care. It's that good. That's how I do things, and plus it actually makes the dinner seem like a lot less of a letdown. At least to me. Why do you think you eat the salad first? Sometimes every time I do a mom food chronicle, it makes me think, wow, I really have come a long way. Was I really that picky? Because I've talked about mom foods in the past where I really wouldn't eat many things except if it was made by my mom. I mean, it's my mom. She loves me. She knows she's not going to poison me. Allegedly. And it still works. Personally, I can't wait. Because I'm going to be seeing, this afternoon, I'll be seeing her and watching my nephews with her this afternoon. So I'm really excited about that. I do know that I will be welcomed. Seriously, sometimes I totally undersold how powerful this good of a smell that the chicken is emitting in the crock pot is. Seriously, I've been able to smell the chicken from inside of the garage before you walk in. That's how good it is. So, in quite a few ways, this really is about as close to Thanksgiving as you get without getting to Thanksgiving. I mean, no, my mom doesn't make any stuffing, and there's not any of the various stuff you would see at Thanksgiving. Obviously no cranberry sauce or anything like that. But honestly, having this chicken, maybe a couple times a year, it really does sort of tide me over till the main event. Huh. You know, a while back I have talked about how I really should consider making a full course menu of life based entirely of mom food. The problem is, because I have an idea of what because, I talk about having the turkey a lot, but full disclosure, when it comes to like the major holiday dinners and centerpieces, I actually put turkey as kind of like the low animal on the totem pole. I mean, if it's Thanksgiving, yeah, turkey takes top priority. But, I've been to lots of different parties, and items like ham or lamb or prime rib, those items rarely, if ever, disappoint. Meanwhile, turkey will get a bad rap, or if you don't cook it, where most people tend to cook it wrong to some capacity, and therefore it's not as good. So I think if I were to do it, I would say I would say like the very bottom is like quail, and then Cornish game hen, then chicken, then I would probably say duck or goose, then turkey, then ham, then lamb, and then prime rib at the very top. That's how I would sort of rank the holiday centerpieces. Although I will say, in between lamb and prime rib, there is one that's like in the middle, but it's very situational. Italian people would know this as the Feast of the Seven Fishes. So, yes, in between, then there's like lamb, then the Feast of the Seven Fishes, then prime rib. So that's how I would do it. It is on my bucket list to have a Feast of the Seven Fishes at one point. Maybe someday. Like, favorite, share, subscribe, and follow me on social platforms on YouTube. I'm very happy this video for all of you guys watching. Do it for today. Hopefully you have a wonderful, wonderful. I almost forgot the day of the week. Today is Tuesday. Hope you have a wonderful Tuesday. And remember, if you want to talk to me, hit a letter. I'll be back. Take care and make good choices. See ya.